Good morning, everybody. Good to see you all again. Today, we're doing an update on the global energetic state for June of 2022. Three major bits of news. One is Gaia took a major hit. Planet Earth took a major hit from the mantids, and it's going to take a while to fix that up. That's the bad news. However, the good news is we did prevent the World Health Organization from enacting a very, very serious, ugly, and dare I say it, draconian law to rule planet Earth with an iron fist. That law never happened. And we also have a dual legal system coming, one where we have a maritime law with our current rulers, and a common law system where we get to rule ourselves without the need for these psychopathic parents to treat us like children. Anyway, here we go. Broadly speaking, I think we're doing pretty well, but I think we've had some setbacks. On the whole, I think our cause is going great. I think we're really on schedule for a massive renaissance on planet Earth. I think I'm so excited to see everything that's going to happen here, because it's going to be beautiful. Think about all the technologies that will be revived, all of the laws that will drop, all of the senseless controls and misinformations that will disappear in our world. And we'll see just what happens with planet Earth, because as a renaissance, it's going to be exactly the same sort of thing that pulled us out of the dark ages. It's going to be wow. However, not all of us are going to get there. Probably in the ballpark of about 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 people are going to get to the Renaissance. There's a lot of damage that's been done here, and I'll just have to see what happens next. Now, if you have not watched this video, this is about the reptilian mantid axis and explains what the great illness is all about. You have to watch this video. It's critical. If you understand this video, then you'll understand why all of this drama is happening here on Earth and what it's all about. The shortest way to describe it is the reptilians are leaving and the mantids are coming, or so they think. And they're trying to reshape the world in their image, i.e. the Great Reset. Now, the mantids are a problem because they breed so fast. Man for man, they're nowhere near as tough as the reptilians, but they can churn out an adult mantid in 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days. Like, their breeding capacity is off the charts. And so even though we capture and kill and destroy tons of them every day, like huge numbers, they are replaced so quickly, so quickly. And of all the dastardly plots that they've been enacting, the one that hurt my feelings personally the most is they attacked Gaia. They really took a big chunk out of Gaia. We went out there, she started acting a bit funny, she started acting a bit sickly. We went and we had a look, and what had happened is that the mantids had colonized and absconded with, or stolen a part of the core of Gaia, right at the center of the Earth, the real core of her being. If you go back in time and look at one of our earlier videos, probably that one, you'll hear the story of one particular reptilian who expanded his lifespan by 3 or 4 times just based on pillaging that little section of Gaia. Now, the mantids had stolen about 40% of her. They'd stolen it and absconded with it to one of their space stations, and then they were taking it to various, and they'd split the catch up, and they were sending it to various planets for processing. Not cool. Gaia was very ill. Now, the mantids have no legal right to be here. They're not welcome, of course. But they were stealing Gaia, or stealing the core of Gaia, so that they could manipulate and bend her to their will, which doesn't bode well for us, I'll put it that way. Now, the end goal of this was to rewrite themselves into Earth's history as the indigenous species of Earth, so that they were always here, they always owned it, it was always theirs, and there's nothing more to say. Because they would, in effect, rewrite our Gaia's history. They had begun that process, but they were nowhere near complete when we caught up with them. Gaia being a little bit out of action, this week or this couple of weeks, we've been relying on the sun as our go-to guy. And he helped us immeasurably to destroy that space station that we found. His sunfire was critical in making sure that that thing was never seen again. However, what we found in Gaia was we found her hollowed out like a test tube had gone from the surface right to the core, and they created an empty sphere, or they started emptying the core out of her and shipping it off world. When we went, we followed it to this space station, and this space station was storing it in a giant pyramid. It was huge. It was huge. And the problem was that none of us could, I mean, no matter whatever we did with the space station, none of us could actually transport that much material back to Earth on our own. So the sun jumped in. Now, the sun is a cool character. This is just another day at the office for him. He's really chilled out. Whereas for us, this is an operation that really hurt our heart. You know, we care so much about Gaia. This is what we've been. Now, the planet Earth is everything to us. This is what we've been working for the longest time. This is what we're all about. But for him, it's just, oh yeah, it's cool. No worries. Yeah, don't break a sweat. And he took care of so much for us in that respect. The team did split up, and we did go to one of the mantid planets where they had another smaller pyramid that was storing. It seemed to be the device that you would use to store the core of a planet. Not that this is an engineering problem I've faced before. However, this is how they did it. What had happened is they'd sent it back to their planet, and they'd also sent another chunk of it to one of their manufacturing bases. And it started the manufacturing process. When I started to process it, or when I say process, I actually mean poison it with their own nonsense and their own unhealthiness. I don't know, lots of good words there that I could use instead. During this process, what we do is we use a dimensional creational, we create dimensional traps. We create pocket dimensions through which we can call in these criminals and take them to Galactic Federation of Light Courts. And so we caught squillions of them at the manufacturing base, at their planetary base, and in the space station. And they're all in Galactic Federation of Light Courts right now, facing disintegration, I'm only going to suggest. We were able to bring back the two smaller pyramids to Gaia on our own. However, the larger one, the sun gated it back through an Orion portal over the pyramids. From there, it was transported back to Uluru, and there it went down to the core of the Earth. Now, Gaia is still sick. Like we managed to sift the material we recovered into 3 groups: 1 untouched, 2 slightly tainted, and 3 seriously poisoned. Only 0.5% of it was seriously poisoned, but it's a difficult process to cleanse it, and one that we can't really participate in, or one that Gaia didn't. When she was speaking to me, she didn't want me to see her in that pain. She didn't want me to see her like that. We accept and care for you, no matter what condition you're in. However, like, this is what she wanted, so we respect that. But this sort of operation tells us a few things, which, you know, the mantid beachhead is getting larger. The reptilians are more or less off planet, or on the outskirts. They're not really showing up. And there are some minor players floating around, but I think, you know, to focus our remaining efforts on the mantids is really where I think we should be. And focusing our efforts on the mantids is really where we should be spending our time at this juncture. Now, this means that the mantids don't have a right to be here. So when a serious astral traveler encounters them, what it means is that they can be policed or captured and sent to court. which has no karmic repercussions for the capturer. But it means that they are weak whenever we find them. They just build at an incredible rate. They just breed at an incredible rate. Though I did promise some good news at the beginning, and you know, there are innumerable fronts. There are innumerable questions. This system of Earth is so complex that they can twist or tweak any aspect of it, and they're trying to do it to all the ones they can get their hands on. And perhaps it and it advances their cause. And so trying to maintain this multiple front war, it's a tricky business, and we win and we lose in several frontiers simultaneously. But there is some really good news, and that is that the common law legal guys have, it looks like they've got it together. It looks like it's really close. What we're looking forward to is parallel systems of government. One government, which we're going to call maritime legal, the birth certificate and all of the drama that begins after that, that will be one section of law, and the other one will be a common law government where you can sign up to be under human jurisdiction and not based in a financial only world, or where finance is king, where we're not living in a world where every decision is based on finances and exploitation, but a management group that can actually be sustainable. Looks like they're getting it together, and we seem to be, looks like we're looking forward to parallel courses of government. There is a legal process to sign into this, and you know, and it's filtering through now. Like, there's been some really big successes, and before we know it, that'll be an option for us. And so we'll have a control world and a freedom world that will run parallel. And these guys don't have any jurisdiction to deal with these guys. So the process to sign into this will be coming through soon. However, be aware there is a limited time to do it. I think the doors will close within 6 to 9 months. Not a very long period of time, but definitely long enough for you to get your paperwork together and serve it to the maritime governments. Reclaim yourself and reclaim your sovereignty. We did face a big setback in the attack on, the successful attack on Gaia. She's more important to us than anyone could guess. She's pivotal in this whole gig. However, she's in recovery now from that, and what was stolen was replaced. The future's looking bright in the advent of dual legal systems, which is a necessary thing, which is a necessary development in where our plans go. There is another bit of news. We were working on this list, or this group of people here. These are the 33 people who are most pushing the Great Reset. And we started to depossess them. We started to exercise them. And we were successful each time, but it only lasted for a few days before they reclaimed them, before they reclaimed the mind of these bodies. And so I just want you to be aware that everybody on this list is actually an Agent Smith. They're actually this guy. We worked really hard to flip all of these guys so that they would actually work for humanity. However, we just couldn't get it to work. We couldn't get it to stick. And every time we're facing their masters who reclaim their property. The challenge, this is a challenge that we accepted and failed to master. However, one of the victories from this came through the World Health Organization. Now, the World Health Organization, if you've been paying attention, had a law that it had prepared to sign off on, to vote on, that meant that they effectively controlled every country in the world. And whenever they wanted to, they could nominate a pandemic. There weren't any conditions to say what a pandemic was, but they could just say it's happening, and therefore a whole string of draconian, sorry, I shouldn't say draconian because they're not involved. However, a whole bunch of incredibly strict legal responses, law, police, capture, shutdown, lockdown, and ensuing nastiness comes through. Now, what we saw was that meeting failed to even happen, where some kind activist blew up the airport that leads to Davos, where they were going to have their big meeting. And so all of those private jets were not able to land and attend the meeting. There was an utter failure of them to enact that law that says that the World Health Organization has complete control over planet Earth, which is a major victory and a linchpin in what they want to be doing. If the time, from that moment, the timelines get uglier and uglier and uglier. However, that was off the cards. They never were able to enact it. And their dreams are falling apart around their ears. It's the best news ever. So to sum up, we had major victory in that the World Health Organization failed to enact its big law that says it can control the world however it damn well pleases. 2, we do have a parallel legal system coming up, which means that the guys on this list become totally irrelevant to people who sign out of it. That's the way forward. However, we did have a major setback in the fact that Gaia took some severe damage and she got really hurt, and it'll be weeks before she's back to her normal self. And as a sideline, the entire fairy kingdom is reeling from her incapacity to act as she's always been. So the rock of Gaia that the fairy kingdom's been leaning on just fell away. Much ado, we are winning. Things are looking great. I expect that planet Earth will fall into totally human hands in the next couple of years. For those of you who've been ignoring my Patreon, please sign up. We work so hard, we do so much, and we would appreciate some financial support. It makes a really big difference, because one of our key team members, instead of working on this, he's got to go work on a day job to go and pay his bills. And we would like that money to go to him so that he can, well, spend his time doing this. He's incredibly effective. We love you all. Stay well and keep up the fight. Humanity, we're going to win this. Love you all. Bye-bye.